What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Terrell Speaks. I am your host, Timothy Wilkes, and this is the show where I do commentary on current events as well as other interesting topics. Be sure to follow me on my social media platforms, Timothy T. Wilkes on Facebook, Terrell Speaks on YouTube, and Terrell Guided Me Wilkes on Instagram. And also to show your support, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, engage, and last but not least, enjoy the show. Okay, now let's get this party started. Now, a lot of people have been requesting this topic. A lot of people have been inboxing me or talking to me on the phone about it because I have a lot to say when it comes to relationships. I can flow in that area easily. So I decided to go ahead and do this topic and have a lot to say on it. And the other topic I had in mind, I wasn't really feeling it. I don't have enough on it to really do it. There was another story about a shooting of a young lady, 16-year-old young lady, by the police, but I decided not to do it. I don't have enough on it to really do it. If I recover it, it'll probably be after the trials, after all the evidence is out, after everything is established on that one. I don't have enough right now. I don't have an opinion on it right now. It's not a strong enough opinion to really do a whole show on it, so I'm going to table it for right now until further notice. But this topic is going to be dealing with relationships. Let's talk relationships. And a lot of people wanted to know because I have learned and studied. I've studied and learned. I've learned the difference between a toxic and a healthy relationship. And the only difference between the two is the way you communicate. Effective communication. With toxic relationships, I'm gonna take both sides. So don't feel threatened or biased or attacked if I cover your side, cover the female side, and don't cover the male side, because I'm gonna cover both sides. So you have the female side, the toxic relationships. Let's just say if y'all get to know each other, this guy gets to know this woman. He gets her digits and stuff like that. They go to texting and talking, and let's say she doesn't hear from him all day. The proper response would be for her to check on him and be like, hey babe, I hadn't heard from you all day. I was thinking about you and I was wondering if you were okay and how was your day, what's going on, things like that. That's a healthy way of communicating. Instead of telling in a toxic way, instead of saying I miss you, instead of saying that hey, you've been on my mind, instead of showing concern and love, compassion. See, you've been on games all day. You just been on games. I ain't heard from you all day. I see how it is. See, I know what it is. Nah, I ain't got time for that. You need to find you somebody to play with. You ain't S. I always knew you wasn't nothing. That's toxic. That's completely toxic. That's the most toxic thing. If you think and act like that, that's not keeping it real. That's not being honest. And then when he retaliates, when he gets frustrated and gets angry with you, you want to be like, oh, I'm just telling you how I feel. No, ma'am, you're not telling him how he feels. You're being toxic. That's unhealthy and toxic communication. And not judging you, but I'm saying that's very unhealthy and toxic. I explained the healthy way, and I explained the unhealthy way just now. That's a very unhealthy way to talk to somebody. You don't talk to somebody like that. Just like someone else brought up, if you play video games, you're not a man. You're a boy. You're a little boy. You childish. You need to grow up and be a man and stop playing video games altogether. Well, I have something to say about that, ma'am. They literally make games for adults. If you don't want a man that plays video games, don't date him. If he's not your type, just say that. If he's not the one for you, just say that. Stop trying to control and manipulate him to be what you want. If you don't like this, just say it. Don't try to make him into what you want. You got too many women trying to make men into what they want, and they get mad. Well, you're not a man if you can't work, come home, cook and clean and do all this other stuff and pay all the bills and do all. If you want a man that does that, just say that. Don't get mad because he's not willing to do all of those things. Because there's somebody for everybody. That's toxic. That's not healthy communication. If you would have explained these things in the forefront, if you would explain these things up front, you would have probably discovered that he wasn't the one for you. You probably would have discovered that he wasn't your type. We're so focused on getting the person. We're so focused on trying to get who we want to become who we want. We fail to realize that the person we want may not be who's best for us. They try to get a real man dressed this way, or dress a certain way. A real man do this and this and that. A real man always keep himself clean, always keep himself up. A real man always do these things. Instead of all this real man crap, it's all crap. Tell you this right now, it's all crap. I don't care who feels some type of way about it. It's all crap. It's just manipulation. It's just toxic manipulation. It's just your way of trying to force him to be what you want him to be, instead of moving the heck on and finding someone that's your type, that fits your description. If you have to yell, and another thing, if you have to yell, scream, and throw bottles and throw things at him to get him to act right, you're extremely toxic. That relationship is toxic. It's terrible. Most relationships are toxic. That's why a lot of people are single now, because many people don't even know what a healthy relationship is. I can say this and I can speak on this because I know I've done it myself. I haven't did all that other crazy stuff, but I know what a toxic relationship is, because when I learned and researched on what a healthy relationship is, I realized that all my past relationships were toxic. Every single last one of them were toxic. They were full of manipulation. They were full of control. They were full of narcissism. They were full of all these other crazy things. So when it comes to unhealthy, toxic relationships, it's like that. Even with the men, if she goes to the grocery store, she stays gone for too long. Well, you must be with another nigga. You must be talking to another nigga. Sir. What if the line was a little too long? What if she had to do something along the way? What if she had to get some extra things from the store because she didn't want to forget them? What if something happened? What if something came up? What if she stayed a little longer than normal? She may have not been conversing with someone else. You know, that's toxic. It's very toxic. Or if you don't like what she cooks, man, you ain't no real woman, or you ain't no, you a B, you a H, and all this other stuff. You call her out a name because you don't like certain things she does. If you want somebody else, just say that. And for the guys too, they degrade a woman for being too big. For being overweight. You just fat and ugly. You just and that and that. Sir, if you like skinny, petite women, why would you date a woman that's overweight? Why would you date and be with a woman that's overweight if you know you don't like it? Why in God's name would you do it? To me, it's the dumbest thing ever. It's stupid. It's toxic. It's ridiculous. And a lot of people don't understand that all that stuff is toxic, because toxic relationships are built off manipulation, selfish gain, narcissism, that kind of stuff. And even relationships, when you go to blaming the other person for your screw ups, that's narcissistic behavior. That's narcissistic tendency. You can't go around, and when she tells, let's just say if the woman's trying to communicate honestly, let's say she's trying to communicate healthily. Let's say she says, babe, I don't like the way you did that. When you said that, it hurt my feelings. Or when you went all day without texting me, it kind of hurt me. It made me think that I wasn't wanted, or something like that. That's a healthy way to communicate it, because you're expressing yourself. You're not degrading him. You're not disrespecting him. He returns by cussing you out and saying, you this and that and this and that, and F you and this and that. That's toxic. Sir, you're toxic if you do that. If you respond like that, she's being honest with you. She's trying to communicate with you healthily. You're being very toxic. That's very toxic. If your relationship consists of that kind of stuff, it's toxic. If your relationship consists of just constant arguing, like yelling at the top of your lungs, arguing, because you're gonna have disagreements. You're gonna be disagreeing. That's normal. But constant arguing all the time, yelling, screaming, fighting, physical fighting. That's a terrible, toxic relationship that should probably end quickly. It needs therapy. You need therapy. You don't need love, because you don't know what love is. That's not love. None of those things is love. All that stuff is toxic. I'm going over this toxic stuff for a reason, because I want you guys to know what a toxic relationship is. If you have a woman that tells you that you're not a man because you don't do what she wants you to do, she's a very toxic individual. She doesn't need a relationship. She needs therapy. Something's wrong with her mental state. If you have a man that tells you that you're not a woman, that degrades you as a woman, that degrades your looks, that degrades you because you have a certain weight, that you have a certain size, instead of helping you live a healthier lifestyle, degrading you and talking down on you and doing all this other stuff to you, then you have a toxic person. You're with a toxic individual. He's toxic. He doesn't need a relationship. He needs therapy. He needs somebody. He needs a doctor. He needs a psychiatrist. He probably needs medication. All these things. So I'm able to speak on it because like I said, I've done my research. I know what healthy communication is. When you're actually expressing how you feel, but you're not degrading, you're not disrespecting. You're saying, hey, I feel like something's changed in the relationship because we don't talk as much as we used to. We don't, you don't do the things you used to do. I was wondering if you were okay. I just wanted to talk to you because, a lot of things that you used to do, you don't do anymore. And I still love you. I still care about you. But I was wondering what was going on because when you stopped doing those things, it made me feel a certain way. It made me feel like I'm not wanted. It made me feel like these things. Instead of that, well, you ain't nothing. You ain't real. You changed on me. I see. I already knew you wasn't nothing. My folks warned me about you. You ain't S. You a punk. You a buster. That kind of stuff. That's unnecessary. You don't have to. It's because we don't have emotional stability. That's what we do in relationships now, and we wonder why. Because we run people off. Because ladies, a lot of you women do that. A lot of you women talk to men like that, and you run them off. That's why you're saying, because you be running these guys off. When they retaliate, when they respond a certain way, man, F this and this and that. When they retaliate, because now they're feeling attacked. When you tell him he's not a man, he might be doing all he can do. He might be giving you everything he's got. And when you're telling him that, oh, you ain't S, or you ain't doing nothing. Your parents didn't teach you nothing, or you ain't about nothing. Now you're making him feel like you're unappreciative. You're making him feel like he ain't no matter what he does, it's not going to be good enough. No matter what he tries to do, no matter what he tries to do to please you or help you, it's not going to be good enough. So we have to be careful how we communicate. That's the difference between a toxic and healthy, because it's effective communication. It's your delivery. I've even tried to have conversations with certain people in the past about that. They try to justify why they talk to men that way. Well, the man ain't doing this and he ain't doing that. No, what it is, the man's not doing what you want him to do, so you degrade him, you emasculate him, you make him feel like he's less than nothing, just simply because he's not your type. He's not your type of man. If he's not doing what you want him to do, he's not doing all the things that you like him to do, he's simply not yours. If she's not doing the thing that you want to do, if she's not vibing with you, if there's no connection, if she's not cooking the way you want her, being the way you want her, you don't have to degrade her. If you dislike her that bad, leave, sir. If you have that big of a problem, if it's so bad to where you have to put your hands on her, to where you have to cuss her out, to call her out her name and all of this and that, and degrade her over and over and over and constantly, even when she's trying to make it work with you, leave, sir. Because she's obviously not your type. She's obviously not what you want. You just want her around so you can manipulate and control her and be a narcissist. Just leave, sir. Just leave, please. Because all of this, see, a lot of people don't understand this. See, I can go on about this. It's a lot of different ways. Because toxic relationships, they're usually based off manipulation. You're trying to turn someone that's not your type into your type instead of waiting for your type. Instead of putting in the work and take to wait and be patient and get the very person that you want, that can vibe with you, that can flow with you, that's best for you. Instead of finding someone that you want, that's your type, that can vibe with you, you're going out and getting whoever and trying to turn them into that, and you can't do it. It's not, if they're heavily overweight and you know you don't like big women, why would you try to take somebody like that and turn them into somebody small and petite, trashing them? That's not going to motivate them to get smaller. It's not going to motivate them to lose weight, trashing their weight. I don't have a problem with BBW. I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying, if a man has a problem with a BBW, why would he go and date one and then trash her for being one? That makes absolutely no sense. If you know that the woman you selected has shortcomings and you have a problem with her shortcomings, if you have a big enough problem with her shortcomings to where you have to abuse her, to where you have to tear her down, to where you have to keep her at bay by making her feel less than nothing, why did you choose her if you knew she wasn't your type, sir? Same thing with women. If you know that he's not doing the thing, if you know you don't, like I said with the video game thing, you know you don't like a man that plays video games, why would you date a man that plays video games and then continue to trash and bash and talk down on him? Or you're not a man, you ain't nothing, you ain't S, you just a bum because he's playing video games. You got games for everybody, but what I'm saying is, this is just an example, but I'm saying, why would you, if he's not your type, leave him be. Don't sit there and try to torture him and manipulate him and twist his fingers and try to break his arm and twist his arm into doing what you want him to do, into doing what you need him to do. Just like you have women that like to text. You have women that like to call. They like to talk on the phone only. But instead of being patient and waiting on the guy that likes to talk on the phone, you emasculate the one that likes to text or doesn't like to talk on the phone that much. You emasculate him. A real man talks on the phone. If you was a man, you'd call me. You're not being a man. You're not courting me like you supposed to. You ain't doing what you supposed to do. I thought we was good, but we ain't. You playing games. You on games because a real man gonna call. That's manipulation. That's control. That's borderline narcissism. That's really bad. That's terrible. I have to say that. That's just not good. Because if you like to talk on the phone, if you want a guy that only wants to talk on the phone and not text, just say that. You don't degrade a man. You playing games. You ain't nothing. You less than a man because he don't like to talk on the phone all the time. He may just want to text. That's on him. That's what he likes to do. That's his prerogative. There are different strokes for different folks, people. There's no set way to be a man. There's no set way to be a woman. So why do we bash? Why do we manipulate? Why do we trash people for just simply not being our type? Why do we do this? Doesn't make sense to me. A real man, a call. A real man just gonna talk on the phone. See, since you ain't, and see, I've had women. Check this out, right? I had women call me 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. And since I didn't answer the phone because I'm asleep, obviously, I wake up to a text getting cussed out saying, "Oh, you ain't nothing. You just playing games. See, you need to find you somebody to play with. See, I don't play these games, ma'am. I was asleep. I'm not up at 6 in the morning like you are. I tried to call. I tried to communicate. Look, I was asleep. I don't want to hit this early in the morning. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that kind of. Well, I'm just telling you how I feel. When I retaliate, there's a problem. I'm supposed to well, baby, I'm sorry. No, I might not be feeling good. You gotta watch how you come at people. I might not be in the right mood that day. You don't come at me like that. That's how I feel it. That's how I feel. Now on my other show, I preach the word, but this is the real Timothy Wilkes. This is me now. It's not preacher, anointed man of God. This is me speaking my mind. Call it Terrell Speaks for a reason. I get to say what the heck I want. And I can say how I feel. I can do it how I feel. But this is me. I ain't up there early. Now if I wake up to a text like that, I'm gonna snap. This is just me. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because I didn't wake up for that. I didn't wake up to get cussed out. That's not how I want to get greeted in the morning. The correct way is to, hey, I tried to call you. I know you may not be. I know you probably asleep. I'll just call you because you was on my mind. Just call me when you get a chance. I love you. Something like that. Even if we're just early in the courtship, just call me when you get a chance. I was just thinking about you, so I decided to call. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. You gotta say, "Oh, you ain't nothing. You just playing game. I'm gonna block you from everything. I'm just gonna cut you out my." That is just all that is wrong. All that's horrible. You have people that communicate that way. You have guys that do that. "Oh, you answer your phone. You must be with some other nigga. You must be with somebody else. You must be with some other dude. You must be laid up with somebody." That's all wrong. All of that is wrong. It's all toxic. That's just an insecure man. That's a insecure man, guy. If you're dealing with that, ladies, something's wrong. He needs therapy. That's a very insecure man. That's toxic. I did a rant on toxic because I had a lot to say about it because all my life was toxic. I dealt with toxic people all my life, so I had a lot to say on that. I had a lot to cover on that. Manipulation, control, narcissism, all of that kind of stuff. And they use a past to try to justify what they're doing. They use, I dealt with other niggas like that, so that's how I am. This is the way I am. You just gonna have to accept it. Well, I really don't have to. I can leave. I don't have to accept anything, man. I just chose to be patient with you, but since you're gonna say it like that, since you're not even gonna give me the respect I deserve as a human being, not as a man, not as a person that's trying to court you, but as a human being, I don't even get the respect that a human being have. You give dogs more respect than you give me, so I don't have to be here. That's just how I feel on that matter. That's the toxic part. I have people, and you have them. You have some. Even if you try to help them, You try to do things to help them when you can't do one simple thing for them. Well, I'm cutting you out my life, but you ain't nothing. You can't do nothing for me. You can't even do the little things for me. I've been taking care of you all week. I've been there for you all week. I've been doing this ever since we met. I've been helping you. Well, you can't do this thing for me. You ain't nothing. You ain't about nothing. That's toxic. More toxic. Okay? All these things, everything I mentioned, for the men and for the women. If you're a man or if you do these things, you're toxic. If you're a woman and you do these things, you're very toxic. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a squirrel, okay? If you're doing these things, you're toxic. Something's wrong with you. You need to seek help. I'm not saying this to judge you. I'm not saying this to belittle you. I'm saying it because I know what toxic is and what toxic is not. And you need to seek help, because I want us to do better as a community, as a people. I want us to do better. I want to see less single people. I want to see more married couples and more healthy communication, more healthy relationships, things like that. That's just the way it is. Because with healthy relationships, you're just being honest. That's all you're doing. You're being honest, but you're being honest in a more effective way. You're being honest in a way that's healthy. You're being honest in a way that's not attacking. You're being honest in a way that's not offensive to the other person. If you missed them, just say that you missed them. I hadn't heard from you all day. I missed you. I was wondering what you were doing, and are you okay? If you suspect this person of cheating and all this stuff, ask God to reveal it, because God always reveals things. Ask Him to show you red flags if this person is not right. Ask Him to do that in the beginning. Get to know this person. Ask them in the beginning, so there won't be any static. It won't be this kind of, well, I just didn't. If you have trust issues so bad to where you can't healthily communicate, you don't need to be in a relationship. You need to be trying to read up on it, trying to learn from it, trying to get therapy, learning what a healthy relationship is. It's healthy communication, being able to express yourself, being able to have emotional stability. If you miss them, just say you miss them. If you have strong feelings for her and you want a woman that doesn't have male friends, or however you want to run your relationship, tell her that up front in a healthy way. Or if you miss her, just say you miss her. These things, it's just, to me, I wouldn't say it's common sense, because we've learned a lot of things wrong. We learned a lot of things incorrectly. And with a healthy relationship, it'll flow smoother if you focus less on just getting the person that you want versus finding the person that's right for you. I have to say that again. If you focus less on getting the person that you want, and you focus more on finding the person that's right for you, you might want that person. You might have strong feelings for that person. You might have a strong desire to have this person, but that person may not be your type. But instead, this is what we do. We get the person that we want that's not really for us. We know they're not for us, so we try to manipulate them into becoming our type. We try to do things and say things to try to manipulate them. Oh, you're not a man, because if you was a man, you'd cook me dinner every night. He might not want to cook. If you want a man that cooks for you, you should have been patient and found that kind of man that cooks and cleans and does. You should have found one. He told you, you knew he didn't like to cook, and you trying to make him. No. If they ain't your type, they're not your type. We have to acknowledge these things in the beginning, instead of trying to manipulate, instead of trying to control people. That's why it's not working, because God ain't got nothing to do with that. We manipulate. We doing all kinds of. We just doing what we want. We doing what we want. It's a certain way you do stuff, and it's a certain way you do it. Healthy relationships is healthy communication. It's the only way you're gonna have it. You got to be honest. You got to be, whether it's a friend. I talked about that on my other show with the friends and all that other stuff. The friends, associates, and you got to know people's role in your life by what they're doing in your life. If it's only a friend vibe, they only a friend. That's all they are. But it's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Check this out. Toxic relationship. You trying to make people, trying to force people to become your type, and clearly they're not your type, but you're trying to force them. You're trying to force them and make them. You're trying to make them be what you want when they're clearly not what you want. They may have the physical appearance that you want. If I could put this face with this personality on this body, I could have the perfect it's unrealistic, people. We have unrealistic expectations. And then it's because we haven't healed, we hadn't sought therapy, we have trust issues, we have all kind of problems, and we try to make the people that we get involved with, the new people, we try to make them pay for what our past people did, and it's not fair. It's not fair to them. It ain't fair. It's not fair at all. I'm just telling you, it's not fair. You're making other people pay And that's it. Basically, the difference. Healthy. You're expressing yourself. You're not degrading the man. You're not degrading the woman. You're expressing healthy communication. Instead of saying, well, baby, you fat. You just fat and ugly. I don't nobody gonna ever want you. Instead of saying, you just keep calling out a name instead of going and either finding somebody that's in shape or what you want, or instead of encouraging her, hey, baby, let's go work out. Let's go to the gym. Let's practice. I want to practice eating healthy with you. Let's practice a healthier lifestyle. Let's do this together. Cause I got you. You got me. Let's run this together. We're gonna go to the gym. We can start running more. I want to start doing healthier things. Let's do that together. Instead of doing that, oh, you just disgusted. You just did it now. I can't believe anybody would look at that. Something's wrong with you, sir, if you do that. Same thing with women that, like I said, with the video game scenario or with any other scenario. If you say he's less than a man, it's something wrong. But anyway, I'm gonna get into the whole 50-50 thing. The 50-50 concept. This is what I believe. There's no set way to run a relationship, to run a marriage. There's no set way to do it. This is my take on it. You have to be able to adjust. There may be cases where 50-50 is needed. There may be certain households. Every household is different. There may be cases where 20-80 is needed. There may be cases where 70-30 is needed. There may be cases where 100-100 is needed. That's the goal, to have 100% effort in each relationship, marriage, and all that. It's supposed to be 100-100, but you have to be able to adjust because things happen. Life throws all kind of things at you. Life throws all kind of scenarios and things at you. They do. So you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to change it up. You have to be able to shift it up. You have to be able to twist it and turn it. Whatever life throws at you, because he may get hurt on the job, and you have to take over all the bills. Have to take over all the responsibility. It may be for a season. It may be whatever, because the vow says, to death do us part, the rich or poor, sickness and health. It says that whatever life throws at us, we can handle it. We have to be ready for it. So we can't. There's a lot of misconception when it comes to that. It's just gonna be 50-50. It's just gonna that's just a terrible way to think. Anytime you think we're gonna do that, we're just gonna do this all the time, or we're just gonna be 50-50, that's terrible. To me, that's horrible, because you have to adjust, because the situation may not warrant 50-50. Let's just say you're making 3 times her income. Why would you think 50-50 would work in your case if you're making 3 times her income, and you could clearly handle all the bills? You can handle them by yourself, no problem. Why would you make her pay half of the bills if you're making 3 times her income? If you can handle all the bills by yourself, or she has other outside things, why would you make her pay all of them? I'm just asking that just to get people to think. Every household is different, every situation is different, every season is different. You have to adjust. Of course, it all depends on what's going on. That's what it is. That's what it's based off the situation. It all depends. So with that, it just depends when it comes to that. Because I don't believe it's just one set way. Because, like I said, life is very unpredictable. And it has its setbacks, it has its blessings, it has its seasons of blessings, it has its seasons of drought. So you have to be ready for whatever. You have to be ready. You got to be ready to do 50-50 if necessary. She might have to be ready to get a part-time job if necessary. Whatever goal she may have, it's just adjustable. You have to adjust. You have to be able to maneuver. That's pretty much all I had on the 50-50 one. Cause it's just adjusting. Yeah, you have to be able to change up. You can't just do the same method with that's anything in life. You can't just do the same thing all the time. But like I said, I had a lot to say when it came to toxic stuff, because a lot of people don't know what toxic relationships are. A lot of people don't know what healthy relationships are. Some people have never seen one. And it's sad, but it's true. A lot of us have never seen one. We have to unlearn that stuff. All that stuff I mentioned about toxic, we have to unlearn that. If that's the way you talk, if that's the way you communicate, that's the way you act, you have to unlearn that, because that's not a right. You're going to run people off. You're going to run a lot of men off. If whatever man acts like that, you're going to run a lot of women off. That's why men ghost you. If you're acting like that, if you're the one that does that, that's why men ghost you. That's why they ghost you. That's why they run away from you. That's why they don't want to talk to you no more, because that's very toxic. Because if he's at work and he may not have texted you today, don't go off on him. Don't cuss him out. don't degrade him and emasculate him or accuse him of cheating or playing games with you. He may have been busy. He may have had other things on his mind. You don't know how his day went. You're going to chase him off. You're going to run him off. There's something going on. You might have to do some evaluation within your own mind to figure out what it is, because there's something wrong there. That's toxic. Healthy is actually telling him, look, I miss you. I was thinking about you today and I really miss you. I was wondering, I hadn't heard from you and you was on my mind. And, just hit me back when you get this. Whenever you get a chance. That's easy to do. It's not toxic. It's healthy communication. You're expressing yourself. That's clearly how you feel, and you're not degrading him. You're not emasculating. Like I said, it's just that's been a topic that's been heavily requested. A lot of people wanted me to talk about it. A lot of people wanted me to do that, and I'm gonna go over courtships and all of that stuff on another show. It's not gonna be on this one, and maybe not even the next one. But I'm gonna go over the courtships and all of that. But just let me know what you guys think, and let me know in the comments. If it's on Facebook, let me know in the comments. If it's on YouTube, same thing. On Instagram, all of that stuff. Like I say, like, subscribe, engage, and all of that. Be sure to let me know. Let's have a discussion about it. What do you think? What do you think about this stuff? How do you feel about it? Were you involved in toxic relationships? Have you had toxic relationships all your life? Do you know what a healthy relationship is like? Anything like that. Anything that you have on the topic, we can engage, we can talk, we have a conversation. Let's get the discussion going. But that's all I have for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to tune in to the next broadcast.